Hey, I'm Barbara Bertucci, and it is my privilege today to bring Ben Woodward on. And we had him before, we have him again, and because there's so much information for him, for us, and I'm just so grateful. I am not going to give you the list of things that he does. I do know that he is now a motivational speaker because he's done that for us for many years. From the well, not really from the UK. Okay, I'm going to not say that. But you know what? We just are so grateful to have him. He has written a bestseller, The Empowerment Paradox, and we're here to just, kind of pick his brain and find out more. So Ben, take it away.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with everyone. I appreciate Barbara hesitating on saying where I'm from, because I am kind of from all over the place. I was born in the UK, raised in New Zealand, lived in Australia, moved back to New Zealand, spent the last 20 odd years in England, and have been out here in the States for a couple of years as well, living over here. So kind of a citizen of the world. But it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you today to talk about the book, The Empowerment Paradox, particularly how it can apply for us as entrepreneurs. I've been thrilled at the response that I've received that has been so varied. I was sharing with a friend yesterday. I had 3 podcast interviews a couple of weeks back in a single week in relation to the book. The first was with Chicago Booth Business School, which is one of the top business schools in America. And that was talking about the role of adversity and turning adversity into opportunity within our careers. What happens when our careers get hit or take a turn for the worst? How do we turn that into opportunity and find strength? How do we transform in that situation? And that was a great interview to participate in. And then I went from there into another podcast interview that was talking about turning adversity into strength and personal transformation in the context of mental illness and addiction. Talk about an extreme. And then from there, a contrast, I should say, from the other. Yeah, and then from there went into another one, which was talking about, again, personal transformation and using these 7 virtues that I talk about in the book to transform ourselves and to respond to opposition in the context of business leadership and entrepreneurship and business ownership. And I thought, what variety? What really struck me, that week really reinforced a critical message that has been constantly coming across my table since this book has been published. And that is the relevance of the message. Yeah, and how so many people right now, it resonates with. The essence of the book is the duality of joy and suffering, their coexistent state. How time heals all wounds, but it also wounds all heals. None of us get through this life without suffering in some way. The critical thing is, how do we respond to it? What do we do? And the fundamental element is, our task isn't to simply survive when suffering comes. The task isn't to just get through the other side. That's what many people have been trying to do with 2020, haven't they? If we can just see the end of it, how many people have been talking like that? If we can just get to the end and see the bright light at the end of the tunnel, 2021 is going to be great. Yeah. And we kind of look in that way. And the objective there is survival. Whereas the essence of the 7 virtues in the book, as we strive to apply them, it's not to survive, it's to prosper. And there's a huge difference, because as human beings, we are not built to survive. That's fundamental, but it goes a step further than that. Our mission for everyone is to prosper. We want to get to another level, a higher level, a better plane of existence and being. And the acquisition of those 7 virtues becomes essential in our ability to have a better experience. And like I said, I've been thrilled at the response. As a consequence of getting the book published, like you said, it became a bestseller overnight, which was great. By the end of the week, it was a bestseller in 3 categories, which was fantastic. I've become a contributing writer for Thrive, which is a sister
Oh, yes.
company with Huffington Post, which I really love because their whole ethos about thriving and prospering and wellness and well-being just resonates with me, and I think with everyone on the call. I've been interviewed by the BBC Radio in the United Kingdom, by
Yeah.
the National Health System in the United Kingdom. The book was recognized by Entrepreneur Magazine as one of the top self-empowerment books of 2020.
Nice.
And it's just continued to have reach upon reach upon reach. And like I
You
said,
know, I think that's amazing. And I think it's awesome that you're covering so many, the gambit.
mm,
And it just shows how prevalent it is right now in this time and age. But I want to take it personal. I want to
yeah,
take it to Nikan. I want
yeah,
to bring it into network marketing. And I know some people shy away from that word, but I was thinking about it last night, and I was thinking about, when I first got in, I shared on the Sizzle call, and it was, I just really wanted to help get these products out to people. It made
mm,
such an impact in my life. I suffered for 4.5 years with a bad back. And then all of a sudden I got my life back. But when the lights came on with building team and empowering others to do the same, that transformed my whole business
yeah.
and took me globally. And so I just want you to go there.
Oh, sure, fantastic. Yeah, I'm glad to. And yeah, there's two things I want to touch on there in response to your question. The first is in relation to Nikan. Yeah, at the heart of Nikan's mission and cause is humans being more, and us finding balance in the 5 pillars of health. Finding balance isn't easy. Yeah, and it's not something that comes and stays. It comes and goes. So it's a constant act of balancing. Yeah, it's a process versus a singular event or experience. And I've certainly found that, with 7 children and with one on the way. Yeah, it's a process of balancing. Um, but we want to get into the nitty gritty of how the acquisition of those virtues that I talk about: a disciplined heart, well practiced patience, being well educated, and working hard, diligent work, and surrender to the past, and forgiveness, and and again, a couple of these principles kind of lead into the next, but all of these dig into how we can become more as human beings and fulfill that mission that Nikan has. It starts with us. But to your second point, of the application to network marketing as a whole, as a business model, this kind of jumps into the conclusion, and I hope I don't give it away here, but it's not a story. It's not that kind of book. So it's okay to get to the conclusion here a little bit. But to me, this was one of the great paradoxes of the book, which is we are stronger when we work together. That's the essence of it all. One of the great challenges that many people face today, I believe, is there are so many pop culture messages that are thrown out into the world that are heinously wrong. Yeah. You can have it all is one statement that we hear a lot, isn't it? You can have it all. That's not true. I don't believe that, because something's got to give.
Mm.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we've got to prioritize, and we can't let the things that matter most be at the mercy of the things that matter least. So prioritize, pick what's most important for you, own it, go after that, and make some necessary sacrifices. If we don't make those sacrifices, we don't know what we stand for, we don't know what we value, and we don't know what really matters most to us. So trying to get everything doesn't work for the majority of people, not unless they sacrifice the wrong things. And that means they don't end up with everything at all. The other thing is, you can do it all yourself. Yeah, you're strong. You're so strong. You're so entitled. You're so privileged. You're so at liberty to have everything you want that you can do it all on your own, right? And we've got this empowerment message back to front. Yes, we want everyone to be empowered, but true empowerment gets magnified and intensified, not just when we acquire those virtues that I talk about, but we are truly empowered to become even far more than we could possibly imagine when we recognize that we are all interconnected. My strength is strengthened when we connect together. Yeah, your strength is strengthened when we connect together. It's the power of the network. And I give this metaphor in the conclusion of the book of the pando tree, the largest living organism on the planet, not only the largest, but the oldest. It covers acres and acres and acres of land in Utah. This one singular tree that has thousands of stems, but a shared root system, which means the shared root system makes it a single living organism. Each stem lives about 120 years, but the actual tree itself, the colony that exists there, is over 80,000 years old. And it's a great metaphor for us in recognizing that as a single tree, we may have some strength, we may make some contribution, we may be able to do something in and of ourselves. But as a part of the pando tree, as a part of that network, we can do so much more, become so much bigger, and be something so much greater and more profound. And that's what I think networking is really all about. We can achieve so much more in business. We want to have the good balance of having the retail customers, go out there and get our customer, make sure that they're looked after and taken care of, but we can have a far greater reach when we connect other people into the network, bring them in, have them connected, help them feel a part of the community, because then we can reach out further and wider and deeper more than ever before. There is nothing else out there on the planet that has that kind of legacy as the pando tree. And here's an interesting thing with the pando tree as well. A number of years ago, it started to die. It started to shrink a little bit. And the reason for this was because, interestingly, it was because humans had been hunting some of the apex animals that lived within that area, right? And because those apex animals started to diminish in size and population, what happened? There was a knock-on effect with the other animals that existed within that ecology, that environment, which meant they started to graze more. The more they grazed, the more they impacted negatively the ecology of the pando tree. And so we started to see this tilt in the ecosystem of that environment to the disadvantage of the tree. What's the point here? The absence of the apex animals, the absence of real suffering, because they're the ones that brought some struggle there. Yeah, actually, the absence of them brought some problems. So what we see is, yes, we want to have that network. We want to be far and wide and big and strong, but even those things need the opposition to exist. Yeah. So the adversity in that space is an essential part of the ecosystem. They need they need the apex animals just as much as they need the grazers and the kind little bunny rabbits and all the other things that are pretty and cute and lovely and fluffy. They needed the other things as well that had the big teeth that bite and scare. And so I share that because in business, in Nikan, in network marketing, we can't try to remove the apex animals from our existence, metaphorically speaking, and expect to thrive at the same pace. There's still going to be opposition. We can have a great model. We can be well networked. We can be stronger together and bigger as a team, but there will still be struggle that we will face. But the thing is, if we're facing it collectively, together, in unity, we come out stronger still. Yeah, that's the great thing. That's the great thing.
I think it also helps us get to the next platform quicker, and then leverage that. I believe you and Michael were talking about the other night, how it can catapult a new person or a young person to ride on the skirt tails of us. And I think that that's pretty powerful too. and you in the different countries and the different things that we've got. Do you want to elaborate on that, or?
Yeah, absolutely. The benefit here of the opportunity that we offer is not just the shared, as we dig into that shared ecosystem of the community, is you've got the collective resources and experience, of other people in the business. And I have loved it when, I've had members of my team reach out and say, "Oh, Ben, yeah, I know we've been working together one-on-one. You've been my mentor recently and what have you, but I can't be as focused right now because I'm dealing with a family crisis. I need to take a step back." And I've been able to go, okay, who do I need to talk to in your business? Who do you want me to keep in touch with? Who we want to make sure that no one falls by the wayside. What can we do? And they'll email over a list and they'll say, okay, if you can just keep in touch with this person or that, fantastic, great, let's do it together, right? And it's been wonderful to have that opportunity where there is this, I like this example of the kind of living, kind of breathing kind of metaphor, as life presses down on us, right? And we feel kind of crushed or overwhelmed, when we are networked together and we are humble enough to reach out for help. That's the critical thing. We've got to be courageous enough to reach out and ask for help, right? That's part of being involved in the network. If we don't, we're under the shade of the tree, but we're not truly connected to the roots, right? We've got to be connected in the roots. So ask for the help. And as we do that, as we're feeling compressed and pressed down upon, someone else can reach out and expand for us, and reach out with their strength. We are made stronger. And then when they get pressed down, we can go in and help them and we can expand on their behalf. And so you got this breathing experience that takes place, where, there's a compression, expansion, because we all are going through our own journey where life is hard and it will come to us in waves or at different times or sequences, but collectively and together, we've got people that can relate, that have been there before, that know what it's like to go through what we're going through, or that have experience that we don't have, that we can depend on, knowledge or insights that will help us, or maybe will help someone that I'm working with. And I go, okay, I haven't had this experience, but I know Madeline has, or I know Dee has, or Elaine, and I can reach out to them and I can pull them in and say, would you be able to help us with this? And I think that is where we can really get the value, where we can have shared knowledge, shared experience, and shared resources and strength. And again, the critical thing is, and Mike and I talked about this on his call on Monday night, ask. We've got to be willing to do that.
Yeah, especially during this time frame where we're more live like this than ever. My son was saying that his buddy, and also he's a film producer, came down. Yeah. They've been on Zoom now since January, but yesterday was the first time they actually met face to face. But they didn't feel that way because they've been connecting through Zoom and such. Yeah. And so I think that's important too. Although it's a little different in our business, right? In our line of touchy-feely things, that make a difference in our lives. But I think it's doable. And so how is that shifting for you? And especially you moved across the country. So, I mean, there's a lot that shifting for you.
Yeah. Zoom has been a great addition, I think, for everyone's business. We were using it a lot before the pandemic. I think we've started using it more. I think the critical thing for us now is to learn how to use it smarter. Yeah, what Zoom has been doing over this past few months, they have significantly been upping their game in the way that they've applied security measures as a basic example. But there are also opportunities in here where we're in doing webinars, we can do things like polls, breakout sessions, and that kind of thing. And I'm at the point now where I'm going, in my webinars, I want to start looking at utilizing some of these added features, where we can have polls and breakout sessions and discussions and make it more interactive and make it different. Because everyone was excited to use Zoom at first, and now we've got this new phrase called Zoom fatigue that some people are experiencing. And I was invited to speak with another great community again in relation to the book, and got to meet some fantastic people. And it was a community for men, encouraging men to be better men, right? Which was, I love that idea, because, you know, we've got this big, strong theme right now across the world of empowering women, which I love and I support and I encourage. But, you know, a big part of this, men have a role to play. Yeah. They need to participate in that process as well. It can't just be women speaking to women.
Right.
Men need to understand the role that they play in empowering women and having equal rights and equal pay and equal opportunity and all that kind of thing. And of course, giving women a better experience in life. So these guys are devoted to how to be a better man, right? And so I really loved that community. And they had some great people involved, and there was a chance for me to stay connected. And you know what? And I ended up hesitating because the way to connect was more Zoom calls. And I thought, I need to get that balance. If I'm going to do more Zoom calls, I want to be doing that within my Nikken community, where we're building our business here. And I'll lead the charge on being better men, perhaps, yeah, in that environment. But yeah, we've got to be creative. We've got to keep on using it. And I think what is important, I had this conversation with a friend of mine on Tuesday, where we identified one of the critical things is, as we're spending more time on Zoom, and especially as home-based business owners, yeah, so a lot of it is on Zoom, a lot of it is digital now. What's important is when we get the downtime, to plan and manage that downtime smartly. Yeah. If my downtime isn't well structured, and I know that seems maybe frustrating to hear, what structure my downtime, but if I don't plan it well or integrate some meaningful activities, and I end up going in front of a TV screen, then I'm in front of another screen. Yeah. Or if my downtime is on my phone and I end up wasting some time scrolling through Facebook but doing nothing, then I'm on another screen. Yeah. Or if I'm just browsing through the internet haphazardly because I've got an hour to kill, I'm in front of a screen again. Right. So what we need to do is be a little bit more disciplined, so that the Zoom fatigue doesn't really take the effect that it does for so many. Use it when we need it, and then get off. Yeah. And then plan our time smartly, so that we're not going, oh, I'm just spending all my time in front of a TV.
Well, and also backing your time out. I got this from Heather. You know, if she's got the event on Tuesday night, then on Friday, you know, she's letting people know, hey, Tuesday, put this in your calendar, or a month ahead. And then now, as it's getting closer, do that. So, and then ones for tonight, we can do it, and also invite them to the one next week, so that we've given them ample time to get on to Madeline's event or the different events that we have that are guest events. Another thing that's pretty amazing, and I think you're really good at it, is somehow we have to shorten the gap. We've got to create that urgency, or launching or jumping in, or, let's make that plan, but then let's give it that due diligence. How do you want to share about that part of it, with network marketing and Nikken?
Yeah. It's critical. It comes down to making commitments, doesn't it? Yeah. And there's a phrase that I often use: you've got to want the consequence of what you want. Yeah. You've got to want that bit too. So yes, the starting point becomes developing a clear and compelling vision. And that won't always come overnight. Sometimes we can get a vision of what we want, but the challenge that we have, this is the first discipline in the book, by the way, of the disciplined heart, is we can have the vision of what we want and go, oh yeah, I would love my business to be paying at the platinum rank or diamond rank, or I want to have X amount of income in my month, in my monthly check, or define it however you will in regards to what you're striving to achieve commercially in your business. but you've got to create the vision. That might come to you in a moment. You might attend an event, participate in a meeting, and come away feeling inspired and go, yes, that's it. That's what I'm after. And I think we've all had those moments, haven't we? Where we've been at an event, we've come away, but the lights are on. I get it now. This is what I'm after. I know it. I know it. But the challenge that we face is the discipline of follow through. Yeah. Because what we find is that discipline isn't equally yoked with the vision that we just experienced. So what it comes down to often, it's not about having that emotion and then immediately being transformed and changed. Not many of us have that road to Damascus kind of transformational experience. But to carry on that metaphor, the road to Damascus experience for Paul, he already had the character in place. His vision changed. He had the character to carry it through. If I continue that metaphor, what we need to do is develop the character to match the vision. Yeah, that's the task. And that will come down to daily activities. Daily activities. What can I introduce one day at a time in little incremental ways that will build my character? And then with faithful patience, we wait for that time of harvest to come. That's the critical thing, because, and this is that other pop culture fantasy, which I don't like, because again, it's feeding false hope to the hopeless, where they say, this get rich quick principle. Everyone is very impatient in today's world, aren't they? I think the internet kind of feeds that impatience because everything's at the click of a button. Yeah. But the reality is, if we want to transform our character, it doesn't happen in a moment. If we want to create a meaningful, solid, secure business that gives us growth or value month after month after month, it's not going to happen in a moment. To develop the character we need for that transformation to occur, to align with our vision so that we can develop and create that kind of business and network the way that we need to and be strengthened together the way that we should, that won't happen in a moment either. That will take time. So we've got to have the vision, discipline our heart on a daily basis to want the consequences of what we want, because what we want and desire consistently over time is what we will eventually become. Yeah, I'll say that again. What we consistently desire over time is what we will eventually become. Yeah, so we've got to build that in.
Then if I could interrupt here, and
yeah.
The half an hour is almost up. We've been talking in order to plan for tonight's and the leadership event coming up and so forth, and Humans Being More. You're doing the special HBM with Jeff on December 12th.
Yeah.
And out of that's already at 50, pretty much maxed. And so you shared with, I think, Michelle and I in a conversation, the not even thinking about promoting your book to begin with, and then with everything you've just summarized in this half an hour, it is evolving into exactly Vision 2020 and how there may be more of those in the future, because not everybody will be able to get into what you and Jeff are doing on the 12th, because truly tying the concepts into these 7 principles and enhancing the HBM. Any comments about that to everybody here? Because I see the regulars and I see a few new extra names. This is the group that have been consistently taking in. So putting that into your action and into the future.
Sure. Absolutely. So on the 12th of December, we still have some more spots available, but we're thrilled to see attendance looking great. We have a unique HBM where Jeff and I will be tag teaming and team teaching that HBM. So he will spend half the time on some of the more traditional HBM principles, and I'm going to take half the time delving into how to apply the 7 virtues in the empowerment paradox for us, like I said, not to simply survive through adversity in business and in life, but to prosper, and how to have that personal transformation experience. So we're going to delve into that in detail. I would love for this to happen on a regular basis, because I do think it's a very, very relevant experience. And like I said, I didn't originally write the book to sell to Nikken people. In fact, I've been over this past week giving digital copies of the book to Nikken people so that they can share it out and use it and what have you. But yeah, it does seem now a more relevant message that for personal transformation and personal growth within our Nikken journey, this is a relevant, worthwhile experience.
And tonight's better way is you tweak the slides a little. So
yeah, and tonight we have the Better Way presentation, normally hosted by Madeline and Michelle. I'm honored to be the guest presenter tonight, and I've put together a different presentation. So this will be a new presentation. There are some familiar slides, but there are also some new ones with some more relevant messaging for 2020 and beyond about what a better way looks like.
If you're listening today to this, there will be a recording, and so, or on a later date, we will still have this recording available for you, the person that got you this recording, because I think it's that impactful. And you know, Humans Being More is the distinction that no other company has, is our workshop. And I can say that without a doubt that I would not be on this Zoom presenting had it been, 25 years ago, Yeah. So you do develop and you do sharpen the sword. And I think that's the beauty of it. And so in us making a difference, whether it's business-wise, in those 5 pillars of health, I think. You want to end on that kind of note, Ben? Give us an ending for the recording, and then I'll open it up again.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's just, if we want to be the best version of ourselves, we've got to be willing to get uncomfortable. Yeah. And, but what's wonderful is if we're willing to be uncomfortable at the front end, what is uncomfortable now will become comfortable later. Unfortunately, the reverse is true. What is comfortable now will often end up being uncomfortable later. Yeah, because it doesn't lead in the same direction. So yeah, be willing to get outside your comfort zone. Look for opportunities to transform, and if it hurts a little bit, do it anyway. I was thinking the other day, I think that's going to be my new mantra, is do it anyway. Does it hurt a little? That's fine. Do it anyway. Does it take you out of your comfort zone? Yes, it does. Do it anyway. Does it scare you? Great. Do it anyway. Is it uncomfortable, but it's the right thing to do? Do it anyway. Do it. We've got to be sure that no matter what happens, when it's right and it's good and it changes and it transforms, we do it. And that's what Humans Being More is all about. And that's what Nikken's all about. It does give us chances to get out of our comfort zone, to feel a little scared, a little nervous. Do it anyway. The great thing is you've got a network around you that you're connected with. Ask for help, reach out, connect, and build together, and we'll all work to succeed.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben, for being on. I'll probably make this a quarterly thing because there's so much information here that we are sponges taking it all in. So thank you for this opportunity.